What's up, everyone? Back for another beer review, and today is October 31st of 2024, which means, of course, it's Halloween. So happy Halloween to everybody out there. Hopefully, if you go out trick-or-treating, you do so safe and responsibly and have a great time with your kids, your family, whatever the case may be. Have a fantastic night, and hopefully you come home with a bunch of different bags or sacks of goodies and just enjoy the evening as a whole. Now, when it comes to my channel here on the Beer Patrol, Halloween's a bit different because it signifies the end of the 10 Days of Pumpkin every single year. And this year was the 7th annual 10 Days of Pumpkin. And I have had an absolute blast reviewing pumpkin beers every single day for 10 straight days. Can be a little bit daunting at times, but I really do thoroughly enjoy it, and this is going to continue in the future. I have no plans on stopping this. This is going to be an annual thing as we move forward, as it has been for 7 years. It's been an absolute, just so much fun. It's been a blast. So typically, for the 10th and final day of the 10 Days of Pumpkin, this year again being the 7th annual 10 Days of Pumpkin, I try to review a beer that I think is going to be one of the best of the year. I try to go out with a bang. So to close out the festivities this year for the 10th and final day of the 7th annual 10 Days of Pumpkin, I am reviewing a beer once again from Prairie Artisan Ales, and they are out of Krebs, Oklahoma, and this is their Pumpkin Maple Marty, and this is the 2024 release. So they're calling this one, wait for it, an Imperial Stout aged in maple bourbon barrels with coffee, pumpkin pie spice, vanilla, espresso flavor, and pumpkin. It comes in at 13.9% alcohol by volume. No IBUs listed. Time of review, this bottle is just over 3 months old. So the reason I am reviewing this one for the 10th and final day is because, like I said, I try to go out with a bang, and two of my favorite pumpkin beers, period, that I've reviewed on the channel over the past 7 years since the inception of the channel has been Basic Becky and Basic Rebecca from Prairie. Basic Becky, huge Imperial Pumpkin Stout. Basic Rebecca is the barrel-aged version of that. Both of them absolutely fantastic beers. Just some of the best I have had as far as pumpkin beers are concerned. And this seems to be kind of in that realm of Basic Becky and Basic Rebecca, although they're using maple syrup bourbon barrels, and they are also brewing it with coffee, and then they're throwing in espresso flavor. Bit different. I don't know. Are they going for a pumpkin maple martini based on the label and whatnot? You could say that is the case. Maybe some kind of other mixed drink. I don't know. I'm just here for it. I'm expecting a good beer. We'll see if that is indeed the case. This was one of the first 2 beers I picked up this year. I think I grabbed this one back in August when I picked up Sweet Baby Pumpkin from Dewclaw over at Brewed and Bottled in Lewiston, New York, one of my favorite local bottle shops. Chris got them pretty early, so I grabbed them to make sure I could grab a bottle. I remember when I picked this one up, he goes, "You know, it's pretty expensive for a single bottle." And I said, yeah, it is. It's Prairie. It's always expensive. Hopefully I don't regret it, but probably not. Anyway, we're going to pour this out. Yeah, this is pouring out. Not quite like motor oil, but it definitely has a, I'm going to drink this entire thing, so I'm pouring the fucking entire thing in. Whatever. Usually I'll go like halfway with a big beer like this, but not today. Okay. Anyway, what does that look like? Well, it looks like it has fucking sheets. Not alcohol like sheets. It's crazy. It's just coating the glass. Pitch black. Hold up to light, 100% pitch black. Had about a finger of this dark brown colored head dissipated to a thin film with the sheer amount of adjuncts. I didn't anticipate a head. Same thing with the ABV usually. 14% beers as a whole don't usually produce and retain the head. So that's kind of what it should look like. Again, basically more or less huge alcohol sheets, not legs. I've got it in the Elysian, pour the Gore glass. Some of the best regular pumpkin beers, in my opinion, come from Elysian. So I thought I would use this one for the last review. Not that any of you give a shit. In fact, I probably don't even care. I just thought I'd mention it. Nose. Oh my God. Wow. It almost smells like there's peppers in here. It has it might just be the heat of the alcohol, the ethanol hitting my nose. It almost smells like a little habanero kick, but there's no peppers in here as far as I know. Probably just the spices. Like it definitely has a cinnamon and kind of nutmeg thing going on. I don't even know where to begin with this one. Yeah, so big peppery, spicy bourbon, 100%. Again, I feel like there's a hot pepper in here, even though there's not. There's cinnamon and nutmeg kind of covering and blanketing that bourbon character. Underneath, rich, deep, decadent, dark chocolate. Not super sweet, but like a richness to it. There's definitely coffee here. It's giving me a little bit of like a pumpkin spice latte vibe to some extent. Like almost if you poured a shot of like Fireball whiskey or just maybe a shot of like a maple bourbon in there or something. Like, yeah, for sure. Wow. It definitely smells and plays the role of an almost 14% beer. It's boozy. It's hitting my nostrils, kind of singeing the nostrils a little bit, searing the nostrils. It just smells really intense. But chocolate coffee, so mocha vibes. Definitely get the pumpkin pie spice in the form of cinnamon and nutmeg. Peppery bourbon over top of it. There's a nice maple kind of characteristic. I'm getting, like I said, little hot peppers, even though there's none in here. I think it's just a spice with the alcohol, the barrel, and everything just kind of giving me that feel. The vanilla is not too big in here. Like, I'll get a little bit of oaky vanilla thing, but not too much. Yeah, it smells fucking dynamite. It smells like a great way to cap off this year's 10 Days of Pumpkin. Anyway, let's get into it. Cheers, everybody, and happy Halloween again. That's delicious. That is a delicious beer. Oh. The finish is something I have never encountered before. Doing this channel, reviewing over 2,000 beers and drinking way more than that in my lifetime, I don't think I've ever specifically gotten what I'm going to say about that momentarily, but that was different. Buying this is medium full body, 13.9% you expect it. The barrel did thin it out a little bit because this is not like thick and syrupy and like super rich. But it is, the viscosity is appropriate, I think, for the ABV. It's just not like straight on full. It's a little bit under full. It's fine. The mouthfeel has a nice moderate carbonation, a smoothness to it, slight creaminess. The mouthfeel's okay. Body's a bit better. It's nice as a whole, though, body mouthfeel. Taste is wild. So I'll just tell you what I got on the finish because I'm probably gonna forget. But the finish is, and I've never seen anything like this. I'm just gonna this is like me making it up off the just like riffing, right? I know they have maple bourbon candies, or they at least have they have maple candies. They have, I think, bourbon candies. But if they had a maple bourbon candy that somehow was infused with pumpkin pie spices, that's what the finish of this beer is. It's like you would have a hard maple bourbon candy that somehow had pumpkin pie spices. That's the finish of this beer. I can't explain it any other way because that's exactly what it tastes like to me. I would love something like, I'm sure everything exists nowadays, but if that specific candy does not exist, someone needs to make that because it sounds delicious to me, being a pumpkin fiend and loving maple. It just makes too much sense. Anyway, we'll review the beer normally. So up front, roasted malt, rich decadent chocolate. Like I said, it's more of a sweet dark chocolate, but like it still has a rich decadent. It's like an artisan chocolate. It has a rich decadent kind of feel to it, but it's not. You can tell it's quality. Coffee's mixing in. It has like a medium roasted coffee, the espresso flavor. It's giving me mocha vibes. Starts to pass through the palate. I get a little bit of vanilla on the sides of the tongue. A little bit of oakiness. Usually I get that on the back, but like I get vanilla and oak like halfway through the palate. It's kind of weird. So the vanillins are running wild like Hulkamania in the 80s. And then after that, I 100% get the maple bourbon. Again, it's a peppery, spicy maple bourbon. The maple is more nuanced. It's more of just like a straight on bourbon. It has caramel and like toffee and like sweet caramelized sugars and things of that nature. And then it finishes with the pumpkin pie spice. I'm still sitting and thinking about like what spices, but I think I would lean towards cinnamon and nutmeg, which I think I mentioned in the nose. It doesn't have that sharpness or that kind of like just like intensity that like a clove coriander and ginger can have, but I would say cinnamon, nutmeg, maybe a touch of allspice. But that, again, that lingering finish is a maple bourbon hard candy that has been infused with pumpkin pie spices. That's exactly what the finish is. 13.9%, yes. Like, my chest is on fucking fire. Like, my chest is on fire. There's definitely a booze kind of character on the palate, astringency, even through the nose when I take a sip. It's big. You can tell. If I was doing this blind, I guess at least 13%, probably closer to 14. So it doesn't hide the alcohol well, but this is a big sipping pumpkin beer. Now, it does finish with a nice dryness from the spices, maybe the oak as a whole. It's firmly dry. It's not like bone dry, but it's firmly dry. Almost no bitterness I'm really getting out of this. Maybe a slight like oak tannin, like bitterness, astringent kind of feel. This is sweet though. This is a big, boozy, sweet beer. It's not cloying though. It's not like I'm taking sips and going, oh my God. It's just, I know I have to take my time with this one because of the ABV, because of all the complexities to this and the intensity of flavors. I got to take my time. This is a sipping beer. This is not, I'm going to pound it out in 5-10 minutes and be done. So it's probably going to take me another hour to power through the rest of that. But I think this is a beer to sit there and contemplate on Halloween night, handing out some candy to the trick-or-treaters, taking a sip every once in a while, or maybe doing so after trick-or-treating done. It's a beautifully well-constructed beer. I don't think it's as good as Basic Becky or Basic Rebecca, being honest with you. I love maple. I love bourbon. I love maple bourbon barrels. This has a little bit too much going on, and I do think that those beers were just more robust and well-constructed and well-brewed, where this is not as... I hate to use this word because it's not appropriate, but like those beers are just cleaner, as I said everywhere, cleaner pumpkin beers. Just like what you see is what you get. This one's a little bit all over the place. It's still delicious, don't get me wrong, but those were a little bit better for me personally. Still a delicious fucking beer though. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say it's not, because it totally is. So, rating, Pumpkin Maple Marty, the 2024 release from Prairie. I'm trying to think, what was the highest rated beer I've given so far? I think this is going to tie it. I think the highest I've given this year is a 4.35, and I think that's where this one's going to land. So Pumpkin Maple Marty, the 2024 release from Prairie, 4.35. To get in the low 4 into the mid 4.5 range, I don't know. I don't know what I need from this, but again, a 4.35 is a fucking fantastic score. It's just, it falls short in some aspect. I don't know exactly what it is from hitting that 4-5 range for me, but it's still, like, don't get me wrong, this is top 3 of the beers I've drank this year, and it's close to that Basic Becky and Basic Rebecca. I think those two were just phenomenal beers. Prairie just knows what they're doing with these pumpkin beers, but they do it in a smart way. They're doing Imperial Stouts, so you're going to get a big, fantastic beer from Prairie as a whole. They're known for their big barrel aged beers, big imperial beers. So the fact that they're adding pumpkin and like pumpkin pie spices and stuff, it makes sense. I didn't get a lot of, I couldn't really taste, there's no pumpkin flavor. Maybe the pumpkin's helping out with the body mouthfeel, whatever. No kind of earthiness here. And that espresso flavor combined with the coffee, while I get that up front and it gives me mocha vibes, it's not too coffee forward. So if you're someone who doesn't really like coffee, I don't think you would be too disappointed by this one in terms of the coffee character. So yeah, anyway, price point availability, go back to what Chris said from Brewed and Bottled. He was like, it's expensive. That was $13.99 a bottle. Prairie beers, typically whenever I buy one of these single 12 fluid ounce bottles, they're usually anywhere between like $12 to $15, depending on what it is. So that is kind of the going rate. It might be a little bit cheaper, a little bit more expensive where you are, but that's kind of the going rate in Prairie. I don't know with distribution with them anymore. We see a lot of their stuff here in the Buffalo, New York area. They're definitely a bigger brewery. But yeah, I don't know their exact distro. Maybe they have a beer finder, maybe they don't. But I'm just happy I saw this one this year. And I hope every year they bring out a different pumpkin beer. I still got a review. I forget the name of it, but they do like a pumpkin pie treat, which is like a sour ale that's kind of supposed to taste like pumpkin pie. I did not see that this year, but most years they come out with it. I think they came out with it again this year. I just didn't see it in my area. So maybe next year I'll have to grab that if they don't release some big imperial pumpkin stout of some sort, because it seems to be kind of what they're known for in the last couple of years. So anyway, if you've had this one before, please post in the comment section. Let me know what you thought about it. If you've had Basic Becky and Basic Rebecca from prior years, which one do you prefer between the three? In order, probably go, I don't know which one I remember being better. I just remember Basic Becky and Basic Rebecca being fantastic. So either or between those two, and then this would be third, but they're all good beers in their own right. And to come back to this beer one more time, Not too sweet, but sweet enough, and you kind of know that it's a big, sweet, boozy beer. Definitely boozy. You can taste it. So again, this is the definition of a sipper beer when it comes to pumpkin beer. So that does it for another year of the 10 Days of Pumpkin. Next year, we're going to be coming back with the 8th annual 10 Days of Pumpkin, and I'm going to probably need some help from viewers. Probably going to have to maybe place an online order or two, maybe do a little bit of traveling outside the area, getting down to the nitty gritty with pumpkin beers, because there's not a lot available locally that I haven't already reviewed. I think after this year, I'm going to be around like, I want to say like 80 to 85 pumpkin beers I reviewed on the channel. That is a shit ton, okay? And there's definitely not many left locally that I have not tried, especially reviewed. So we'll see what ends up happening. But tomorrow we'll be back to the regular reviews, the normal reviews. I will announce right now, if you watch to the end, there will be no shelfie beer reviews for the month of November. Just not going to do it. And then in December, no shelfie beer reviews, because there's going to be holiday-themed beer reviews. Or the other options, I might do an advent calendar. I might post a poll or a message on my community tab to see, would you guys rather see an advent calendar or the holiday-themed beer reviews in December? We'll see. Whatever wins out, we'll go with. But then back in January, some changes to this channel. We're going to bring back shelfie beer reviews, but I should have my new camera up and running, and we're going to start going to town on the blind beer style tournaments. The Porter tournament's going to be the first one we do, and might look into also starting the Viewer's Choice Cellar Sunday, and maybe some other things. We'll see. But I think 2025, we're going to change it up a bit on the channel and see how it goes. But yeah, anyway, I'm going to shut this one down. Please post in the comment section what you think about the 10 Days of Pumpkin, especially if you're a pumpkin beer lover. If you're not, you're probably happy that it's over with and you want to come back tomorrow for the regular reviews. But I totally get it. I love pumpkin beers. I like fitting them, you know, into like a 10-day period and then pretty much being done with them. Although I will say I have Pumpkinator and Barrel Aged Pumpkinator coming from viewer of the channel, Instagram reviewer Greg Shawinski. He actually yesterday, or was it the day before, he sent me a message with a UPS tracking number. I will be reviewing both those beers in the month of November, assuming that everything arrives safe and sound. Anyway, I'm going to shut this one down. Appreciate everybody stopping by for another beer review. 10 Days of Pumpkin, 7th annual 10 Days of Pumpkin in the books. Till the next one. Cheers. Happy Halloween.